Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
The recent declassification of CIA documents almost mystically describe human beings as vessels for something else. Years before those were declassified, Bob Lazar was making waves claiming that the purpose of human beings on Earth was solely that of being containers. Although he admitted he did not know what it was that our physical anatomy was meant to contain. Then we have the story of a certain US president that wept tears of grief for 3 days after demanding to read the research that was hidden from the general population and even him. We never found out what it is specifically, but it was rumored that he found out that people are not people, that we are not unitized soul entities with individual personalities, but instead empty cauldrons that are being used to house something otherworldly.
You could see this in a couple different ways. You could see it as a bad thing, like we're just the containers of whatever substance is needed by this other entity. Or you could see it as a good thing, and just that we're containers for our own souls. I would say, since the federal government views us as cattle instead of human beings, it would make sense that their report would hold a more negative outlook on the topic. This is an interesting one, but I don't think with as little evidence as there is that you could even say this is likely. We just need more evidence than a piece of paper from the government with an idea on it. And that's besides the fact that if this were true, they would have likely never released this to begin with.
Nick Strassman, he terrified himself right out of the DMT research, as far as I can tell, because all his subjects came back and said, well, you know, I went somewhere else and saw aliens. It's like, well, it was a dream. No, sorry, wasn't a dream. It was way more real than any dream. In fact, it was actually more real than life. Well, what do you do with that? What do you do with
especially
that?
when it's every subject or almost every subject.
Yeah, exactly.
And not one out of 30.
Yeah, exactly. No one knows what to do with that. We don't know what to do with that at all.
I'm interested to know what y'all's thoughts are on this one. Do you think when we take some drug like DMT that causes hallucinations, do you think that we're lifting the veil and seeing things that are hidden from us? Or do you think our minds are creating a false reality for a moment? I personally think that we're seeing into a hidden dimension. I just don't see how it could be anything else. When you have this many reports of seeing aliens or little elves that are almost always described the same way, and they're almost always described as being mischievous, I just don't think it makes any sense at all to say that all these people from all over the world, from all different walks of life, are experiencing the same exact hallucination, and that it's just a hallucination. I just feel like there has to be more going on here. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this type of content, I post a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday. It'd be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me. Also, don't forget to check out my merch store at www.barry-stepp.com.
The whole point of finance is to indebt, otherwise to enslave. What is a mortgage? I mean, what does that stand for? It's a death grip. So when you get a mortgage, you have a death grip held over you because you are in debt. You don't even own the house. The bank owns the house that loaned you the money to buy the house, unless you're fortunate enough to have all the money to buy it outright. And even then, you can be taxed by the government, and if you fail to keep up with those taxes, the government can then take it from you. The whole system is based on a financial fraud, which effectively takes the power that we have and it gives it to a tiny group of individuals who are running the world through the control of finance. With the infinite supply of money that we have allowed them to take, they have literally an infinite supply of money, and with that money, and from their psychopathic point of view, they have bought everything and everyone who can be bought. So those of us who cannot be bought because we operate on a level that goes way beyond the material, we are not rewarded for such behavior, we are punished for such behavior. And the most slovenly, disgustingly criminal, pedophilia, corrupt moral individuals, those are the ones that are rewarded in this system, which is upside down. We reward the pedophiles, we reward the corrupt, we reward the liars, we reward the people with no morals at all, and usually we compromise them under this system. Or maybe we have videos of political leaders having sex with little boys or little girls. If I was in charge of the world and I was a psychopath and completely drunk on my own power, you can bet damn sure that's what I would do. I wouldn't allow anyone in a position of power who wasn't completely compromised. When you have an infinite supply of money, you can do this. Take that supply of money away, take that power back, put it in the hands of the people, get rid of fractional reserve banking, which is an obscenity in itself. Listen to the lessons of Jesus Christ if you're a Christian who got really pissed off when he went to the temple and he saw what the money changers were doing. let's take back control of the issuance of money, and not just on a national level. I'm happy to see in Denmark that you have your own currency, you don't have the euro, but on every country's level, they should be issuing their own currency in a transparent, non-usury based way in which it really, truly benefits the people. And in that way, we can literally free ourselves of the banking debt which is drowning us all, and we can stop scrambling for the crumbs from the table of these filthy rich psychopaths and live in a state of abundance just by changing this one thing. And I'm not just talking about abundance for Western nations who have an artificially inflated value with their currencies. We all in the West are guilty of having that reward while the rest of the world is sucking on it. Every nation in the world can use a sensible financial policy to liberate themselves, to have world-class education, infrastructure, everything that a healthy society would require can be had in the worst, most corrupt African country in any part of the world. We can all have that if we simply change that one thing. John F. Kennedy did that about 6 months before he was taken out. He issued United States notes as opposed to Federal Reserve notes. I can assure you the powers that be knew the power of that act, and they took him right out. So the bottom line is, if we as people understand this very simple principle, just this one thing, change this one thing, we can solve every other problem you can name. I don't care what the problem is. I can bring it back to the financial system and an infinite supply of money for a bunch of psychopaths who are running the world, as opposed to an abundant supply of money for all of us. So in that sense, I'm very optimistic. This is not rocket science. I am not the smartest guy in the room. We can all understand this. And as soon as we do, we can exercise the same power that we had, but relinquished, and we can have a future for ourselves and our children. There's a lot to be optimistic about, quite frankly.
This just seems more and more like this has to be the way the system is set up currently. With what he was talking about with having any person in a significant position of power under control via blackmail, that was the whole point of the Epstein operation, wasn't it? That was how they kept everyone in compliance and kept everyone silent. You keep your mouth shut about the evil we're involved in, or everyone finds out about the evil you're involved in. I feel like that's pretty obvious. And now that the election's over, that list is supposed to be coming out according to Elon, and heads will roll. There's going to be a lot of important people with a lot of explaining to do. But in regards to the financial stuff, of course that's the way it works. Just look at how BlackRock is buying up anything and everything. That's the head of the spear. Follow the money to follow the corruption. And that's where all the money flows back to, is BlackRock. Unfortunately, I don't see what can be done about them. They're a monopoly, but they're not just in the U.S., they're taking over the whole planet. I just don't know how we stop it unless countries start outlawing them doing business in their countries.
Donald Trump just won the presidency, and he's already putting his foot down. Trump is telling Benjamin Netanyahu that he wants the war over before he goes into office. And it's going to be done too, because remember, Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump do not like each other. They both have big egos, but Donald Trump has all the leverage in this relationship between the two countries. So the war in the Middle East and the war in Eastern Europe are both going to be over now. And if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris had the ability to say no just a little bit, they probably would not have lost that election. But here's one thing I really do worry about. Trump is not going to be in office till January 6th. Joe Biden and all those who influence him have 2 more months in office. So these next 2 months might be very bad for the people in Gaza. And I do worry about that, because now there's no political restraint, no political repercussions. So it's completely overboard. Israel and Ukraine's demands from Joe Biden were this past year. They might actually become worse in the next 2 months, because in 2 more months, Netanyahu's not going to have the same influence on America anymore. And one last thing real quick is that, hey, Anthony Blinken, you're fired.
I think he'll get it done too. I am a little worried about what type of escalations we'll see in the next couple of months in either of these two wars. But they know he's entering the office in January, and I think they know better than to push their luck. I believe Donald Trump when he says he wants no new wars, but I also think that Donald Trump wouldn't play around if it came time for retaliation for somebody harming our country. I honestly think now that they know he's coming into office, things will start to cool off. I could be completely wrong, but the last time he was in office, the entire world started to chill out. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that that continues whenever he enters office this time. I just want the tensions to die down so that we don't have to worry about nuclear holocaust anymore.
Everything I've seen in all the autopsies I've done of cancer patients, not one of them died of cancer. They died of liver failure, they died of cardiac failure, renal failure, all due to chemotherapy. We got a patient that had been through chemo and radiation, and they had cooked her liver and cooked her kidneys. We looked at the blood work and realized she had no organ function to speak of left. And I said, we can make her more comfortable but the radiation treatment that they used on her has actually destroyed her organs. So we did what we could. She'd been given 3 weeks, we gave her 6 months. And she got time to say goodbye to her family. But I remember walking into the office the morning after she passed, and this internist was sitting on the waiting room couch. And I said, "What's the problem?" And she looked at me and she said, "I'm doing the death certificate, and I don't know what to write for cause of death." I said, "You might try writing the truth for a change." And she said, "You know how much trouble I can get in by doing that?" I said, "If you're going to study with me, you're going to write the truth." And she wrote radiation poisoning, cause of death. She's the only doctor I've ever seen do that. She actually had the courage to tell the truth.
I've long thought that the treatment for cancer seemed like a much harder road to go down than just dealing with the symptoms of the cancer. I'm certainly no cancer expert, and I'm not giving out medical advice. But if I develop cancer, there's no way they're going to convince me to do chemotherapy and radiation treatments. I've seen what they do to people, and I just don't see the point. Why would you try to hold on to life if that's the only life you're holding on to? Those people look miserable. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I never have to experience making that decision, but I think if it ever happens to me, I'm just going to focus on making quality of life improvements and hoping for the best.
Okay, so this is really weird, and I'm going to keep my eye out for this in the future because this is so strange. Look at this. So this Matrix Mysteries group just popped up on my Facebook, so I joined it after reading this post. Look what this lady said. She said, "A while back, I began to notice a weird quirk at my farm." Quirk would be an understatement. "A cell tower went up behind my woods last year. Since then, I have a weird cloud that almost seems to hang around in the sky, the same area almost every day. Even when the sky is cloudless, there will be this weird little cloud sitting there for hours. It doesn't change or move, but it's a different each day. Even if it's cloudy, there's a defined and different cloud still there." Now, I would think this girl is full of baloney if she didn't include like 50 pictures. And again, this could totally be fake. Let's just preface this could be completely fake. But it's kind of weird. Look at this. So this is the first one that's included. Notice her fence there, the tree there, and the cloud there. Otherwise cloudless sky. Here's another one from a different angle, different day. Cloudy day, but a defined cloud right there. Another one in the exact same spot on a blue sky day. Cloud hanging around right over there. Looks like a sunset here. Cloud hanging around right over there. Here's kind of a double whammy at night in between the two trees we know of. There's a cloud, and then sure enough, in the morning, cloud sitting there again. This time it's a bit bigger, but same spot. You do have to wonder, is there something she could possibly gain from making this up? That's what you gotta wonder. Here's the cloud again. Blue sky day, cloud still sitting right there. This one's a bit of a zoom in. Again, her fence is here. This is the same angle. This time it looks a little different. It's just always hanging out there. So what are your guys' thoughts? I have some, but again, this is disclaimer, probably fake.
I don't think this is fake. It's possible that it means absolutely nothing, but I don't think it's fake. This lady could just have a cloud materializing in that location every day. It could be as simple as that. But I can't help but wonder if it's some sort of a craft in hiding. I've seen several videos that appear to show some sort of craft materializing out of a cloud. It would only make sense that if they were going to use some sort of cloaking technology, that they would cloak themselves in such a way to give the appearance of a normal sky. So a cloud is the most obvious choice. What are y'all's thoughts on this one? It seems a little too prevalent to be a coincidence to me.
King Kong and Godzilla is biblical. And I know what y'all are saying. Oh my gosh, here she goes. Everything's biblical. That's because it is. Everything is biblical. Anyway, let's get into it. Now, if you watched my previous video, we covered the Leviathan, the untamable, unbeatable sea creature made by God on the 5th day of creation. But have y'all heard of the Behemoth? Also made on the 5th day of creation, but except this one is a great land creature. Lucky for us, this creature is a herbivore. But don't get it twisted, you still don't want to mess with the Behemoth, okay? I just think it's crazy how the Bible describes the Behemoth and the Leviathan the same way that movies describe Godzilla and King Kong. A large creature that comes from a lush Greenland area, and then a large creature that emerges from the sea. Y'all know that anything that comes from the world is usually copying off of the Bible. Like literally almost everything in the movies is from the Bible, if you dig deep. We covered in the last video the bloop, the anomaly that sent off mass alerts in the ocean, the image on Google Earth that looks like a large sea creature's head moving through the globe, the fact that sea life is becoming more aggressive. And it says in the Bible that the Leviathan has the ability to heat the waters around it. The ocean is becoming warmer, is it not? Strange. Anyway, let's move on to the Behemoth. Have you ever wondered where the behemoth lives? If the Leviathan is in the sea, how could such a huge creature be hiding? Like, wouldn't we see that? Like, these are literally titans. There's no way the behemoth could hide in plain sight. What if I told you it's not hiding in plain sight? The behemoth is most likely in Antarctica, and also Antarctica is not just full of ice, it's actually Greenland. And I have receipts for it. The icy land you see in Antarctica is just one part of it. It's literally a big ice wall separating us from this lush Greenland. Don't y'all find it fishy that in the King Kong vs. Godzilla movie, they shipped him off to where? Antarctica, and then he found what? Hollow Earth. So he was in an icy terrain, and then when he was on Skull Island, he fell upon Hollow Earth through an underground tunnel. Are y'all hearing this? Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? Hollow Earth is lush Greenland. Antarctica, icy. They're literally telling us, like, you know what? Y'all not understanding. This is Richard E. Byrd. I'm gonna do Reader's Digest because I did a whole video on him, but basically he was one of the best aviators and polar explorers known to man. He heard that there was an entrance to the center of the Earth in the South Pole, so he decided to fly into it. He found himself in Antarctica, and he was surrounded by green land, forests, and a beautiful, shimmering rainbow city. He came back and reported this on live television, and not more than a year later, he mysteriously unalived in his sleep from a heart attack. This man was so physically fit. Like, look at him. Does he look like he's anywhere near something like that? Yes, I know you can't always see a heart attack coming. However, that seems kind of fishy. A little over a year and a half later, the Antarctic Treaty was signed, prohibiting self-exploration of Antarctica. I wonder why they made it illegal for us to go explore. Seems like they're trying to make sure we don't find something out. Pause. TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. Don't y'all think that it's crazy that Godzilla and King Kong are mortal enemies and always having some famous smackdown? And in apocryphal texts, parentheses not mentioned in the Bible though, there is a huge final smackdown between the Leviathan and the Behemoth at the end time before the coming of Jesus. Kind of makes you wonder, guys. I don't know. I said it once and I'll say it again. Anything I see in the movie, I'm gonna assume that there is some kind of truth to it. What do you guys think? As always, guys, make sure you like and follow. Thanks for watching.
I don't believe that the behemoth and the Leviathan are still here today. I personally think that that was just the description given for dinosaurs or dragons that were still walking the land with man at that time. I do think that it's possible there's something living in Antarctica that's being hidden from us. I do think there's something up there. Whether it's lush green landscapes or secret mythical creatures, I'm still on the fence about. But they have to be hiding something from us up there. Every nation agrees it's not okay for people to go up there and explore. What other law does every nation agree on? None. Something's being hidden from us up there, but I'm not even convinced it was them that made the decision to cut it off from the rest of the world. It could be the inhabitants of Antarctica who made that decision in an effort to stay away from the rest of us. What are y'all's thoughts?
Or that one boy.
Now listen to this. I have to tell you this.
Okay.
So after I left the party, and the next day I smoked with Michael, and then I get in the limousine and I leave. I get back to the Sheraton Hotel at Universal over here. There's 4 FBI agents waiting for me in the hotel room, and my mom's there and she's like, tell them what happened. And I'm like, what do you mean tell them what happened? And I sit down with them and they all ask these super sexually exploited, you know, questions, back-sided questions, and I knew that at my age already. And I looked at all 4 of them and I said, are y'all crazy? I said, what you think I'm gonna do? Tell you that Michael did something bad so that we can sue him for money? That's what I told him. I was like, and I looked over at my mom and I was like, are you serious, Mom? I was like, what is going on here? Why are you letting this happen? And she goes, well, I think something happened, you know, I think something. I'm like, really? That man did nothing but be hospitable, kind, loving, giving, everything you can think of. We rode 4-wheelers for 5 hours, me, him, and Chris Tucker, in the mountains at nighttime after his birthday party. Him and I hung out and talked pretty much all night. got a couple hours.
I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion, but I've always had serious doubts about the accusations against Michael Jackson. It seems like it's always the parent or the adult in the situation that's making the claims, but the children involved seem to always defend him and even continue to defend him into adulthood. Look at Corey Feldman. That dude spent loads of time with Michael Jackson as a kid, and he's one of the most vocal voices in Hollywood talking about the pedophile issues that plague it. If anything happened to that guy, he'd be telling everybody. But even Corey Feldman says that Michael Jackson never did anything inappropriate around him. I really feel like all the accusations against him were just people trying to get a quick payday, and it destroyed the guy's life. Now, I'll admit the guy was super weird and did some odd stuff that made him look super suspicious, but I genuinely think he was just a weird guy who never fully grew up. What are y'all's thoughts on this one? I'm scared to ask.
So, I've shown you guys that Egypt is here in America. Just look at all those places up there on the Mississippi. And I've also shown you that before it was Washington, D.C., it was Rome, Maryland. But for this video, I want to show you guys some of the other old world places that were all located here in this land, the Holy Land that we call America now. And obviously, maps can be manipulated. So I took all the maps used in this video directly from the Library of Congress's digital archive online. Now, right off the rip here, you'll see out in the northwest, Pyramid, and then Pyramid Lake directly next to it. That's how it goes. Now, if you weren't familiar, one of the great ancient cities of the world was the Phoenician city of Tyre, pictured above. Now, in this Bible is History book I have, we're told that Alexander the Great built a 650-yard causeway across from the mainland back over to Tyre. Now look at this picture above compared with this map of Cuba and an artificial causeway built across the ocean. Look like they might be the same place to me. Now this was taken from a map only showing the Western Hemisphere in North and South America. Now, if you'll notice here, ancient Carthage is pictured over here in the Western Hemisphere, right here on the northern coast of South America. And the image fits perfect over current Cartagena. Now, I don't know what you were taught in school, but I was always told that Carthage was in the center of North Africa, directly south of Rome, Italy. Now, when you think of the story of Carthage marching with an army with elephants from South America to Washington, D.C., instead of North Africa to Italy, it's a much more impressive story and believable. And check out when I overlaid the map of Hannibal's attack on Rome with Washington, D.C. here. And there are so many of these on the Library of Congress. Now let's look at one of my absolute favorite maps of ancient North America from the year 1600. Library of Congress Digital Archive. We have Sinai Mexicanos labeled where the Gulf of Mexico is today. Now, if you don't know the story, Mount Sinai and the Sinai Peninsula is where the Israelite slaves fled from Egypt into the wilderness with Moses. And this is the place where Moses actually received the Ten Commandments. Now moving on west here, you'll notice Casa. This is extremely similar to the book of Colossians, where Paul was writing a letter to the church of the Colossians, said to be over in modern day Turkey, but pictured here down by Alabama. Now looking just east of Casa, we see AIX, I. In the ancient Old Testament account, Ai was famous for being conquered by Joshua during his conquest of Canaan. Now it's about to get good. Looking further westward, you'll notice Cana there, reminiscent of ancient Canaan, said to be over in modern day Lebanon area, Israel. Then below that, south, you'll see Galit. Now, if you weren't familiar, Paul in the New Testament wrote one of the books to the Galatians, which was said to be over in Greece, but clearly pictured here in southeast United States, or southwest United States, or northern Mexico. Now, looking either further west, you'll notice Cush here. Cush, said to be in Africa, was where the descendants of Ham settled after the flood when they got off the ark with Noah. Just west of that, you'll notice Mar Vermelho there, separating California as an island from the mainland. Mar Vermelho translates to the Red Sea. The Red Sea was the body of water parted by Moses during the escape from Egypt by the Israelites. Now, these maps are really strange because it's incorporating the Old World and the New World, but here you'll see Cibola, which, according to ancient Native American myth, where there were 7 golden cities of Cibola with immeasurable wealth and quantities of gold. Now, notice here in the Salt Lake City area, we have Septon City, or the City of God, or 7.
Queen of Sheba, anyone?
America, as a whole, used to be called Septentrionalis, or the country of 7, also meaning the country of North, or the country of God. See here. Now, starting here at the northern portion of this map and moving south, we'll see a number of native villages and fortresses that have been destroyed by the French. Here at the bottom, it says Saint Rene. Now, if you've seen my other post, you'll know that this was a charter from the Egyptians to the French to control the land and chattel or people in that area of the Mississippi River, or the ancient Nile River, here in Missouri. Let's look at another map here. Notice Mar Vermelho there separating California, and also Dionysus, St. Paul, St. Matthew, St. Mark, many biblical names listed. I wanted to point out the Nassonis listed. This biblical story of Samson tells us that he was a Nazarite, mapped here in North America. Then looking north, you'll see Akansa, La Canesi.
Check out how they spelled Kansas here, and all around
the modern Kansas. Once again, we have been taught that Canaan was over in the Middle East. And here's more places seemingly named after Canaan. Now let's look back over to the Salt Lake City area here. Now, if you'll see here, it was called Taos, or Geronimo, which stood for Hieronymus, which meant sacred city, and sometimes called Saint Juan or Saint John. Now, Jerome, also mapped, means the same thing, sacred city. Now, this makes the story of the Yale Skull and Bones chapter holding the skull of Geronimo or Saint John, probably John the Baptist, much more disturbing and makes me a little bit angry. Now, moving south, you'll see Coachella, which were Aztec or Egyptians, all the way up here in North America. Then you'll notice Jubilees. Now, if you weren't familiar, Jubilees, it was a big deal for the Hebrews. Slaves were freed and all debts were broken. All land was given back. So strange that it's mapped over here by Salt Lake City. Now, here we're told about the Essenes, which was an old world Jewish sect said to be in the Middle East. Now, if you'll notice here, St. Paul, or Minneapolis, was called Esseneapolis. And pictured again, many locations up in the Minnesota area labeled Essene. Now, I'm going to run through these last ones because of time. As you'll see in this map here, Korah. Again, on this map, Le Korah. David wrote many psalms to the ancient city of Korah, which is shown here somewhere north of the delta of the Mississippi. Now, on these maps here, you'll see Tamerloa, Tamerluans, and Tamar was a daughter of Judah and was said to have been given a portion of ancient Israel. Then back over towards Salt Lake, we have Pilate, Thebes, Pharaoh, Manassas, Sumer, more Sumer. Then you'll notice in these maps, the Tigris mapped here, which was said to be in the Middle East and was one of the 4 rivers running out of the Garden of Eden, as you can read more about here above. And lastly, notice here in what was then West Florida, Ibrahim. Sounds a lot like Abraham. Some people will say, oh, it's just maps. Maps can be manipulated. Well, considering they're from the Library of Congress, if you think it's being manipulated, why do you vote then?
There just simply has to be something to this. When you have that many examples of towns that line up with biblical descriptions, and you have places that line up even better than where we're told the modern day places actually are, it's just starting to look like there's almost too much evidence. And to find out that there are Native American tales about huge golden cities in the Americas when they shouldn't logically even know what a city was. Again, it almost seems like it's too good to be true. There's so much evidence. What do y'all think about this one? Am I being sucked into a false conspiracy theory, or do y'all think this could be true? That is the end of our clips for the day, but before we end the video, I have some packages to open from viewers. First, we have a package from Archer's Hill Nursery, and they sent me a Bible and a note that says, "Thank you for all you do. My teens and I enjoy your thought-provoking content, even the controversial flat earth information. We all appreciate that your content is family-friendly and covers practical subjects. We enjoyed seeing you get fun gifts from your viewers. We wanted to send something, but all of us wanted to give you something that we all on your channel seek for: truth. We enclosed a gift of life, light, and truth. Truth is always gaslit and lied about. God promised that truth could be found and preserved. We enclosed the core and some of what we have. Much love to you and your family. Stay safe. We pray for you all for this. Sincerely, Catherine and Hannah." Catherine and Hannah, thank you very much. And I would just like to say, if anyone else is considering sending me another Bible, I've been sent about 5 of them now. I am Bibled up, so I'm good on scripture. No, you don't have to send me another. If you feel compelled to send me one, though, I will accept it. I do appreciate someone trying to spread the word with me. Thank you very much, and let's see what our next package has in it. Our next package is from Rosie. This has it is a book with a note that says, "Hey Barry, I have been really enjoying your YouTube channel. I know you had some questions about Christianity, and I wanted to send you a copy of my book. I hope it can provide some insight into faith. Also, I know you asked if the Anunnaki Wars were recorded in the Bible anywhere. I believe that this relates to the fall of Lucifer into Satan. Many Christians refer to this as Cadiz or Lucifer's flood. I cover this topic on page 10. I hope you enjoy and check out the website divinggospelministry.net, which so admins for much more info. He be blessed. Rosie V." All right, let's look at the book. And the book is by Rosie V. Somerville, the author. And the person, I'm assuming, who sent this, and it says it's called The Gospel of Jesus Christ, the Truth, Teaching, and Prophecy of the Messiah. Thank you very much for sharing something with me that you actually wrote yourself. Greatly appreciated. That is awesome, and I will absolutely check it out. And last, we have 2 packages from the same individual, and this is from, we'll just say, from Freddie R. And I would like to apologize to Freddie. He messaged me several days ago and asked when I would be opening this up, and every day since then I have intended to open these packages, and I keep forgetting, and it's completely 100% just my bad memory. So I apologize, Freddie. I will try to do better in the future. The first package that Freddie sent, we have a extra large flex fit hat with what appears to be Freddie's personally designed American flag logo on the front. Oh. And if you turn it sideways, it says MAGA. That is awesome. Thank you very much. And awesome on you for realizing that the size of my head required an extra large flex fit hat. It's very difficult for me to find fitting hats, so that's awesome. Thank you. And I'm going to open this second package from Freddie, and we'll see what's in there. All right, so we have stickers. Oh, there's a note here. It says, "Barry, you are the man. I dig the new sunglasses look. I'm sending you some gear to wear on or off the show. It's an original design. It flashed into my head after Trump beat the F out of Hillary. It came to me almost completely at work, and I drew it down. I'm not an artist by trade. It's so cool to contact you. The wife and I watch YouTube almost nightly in this order: Barry Stepp, iTrack, Bryce is Right, and That Chapter. Sending a large vinyl sticker for the car or wall. Peace, my brother, Freddie." Freddie, that is awesome. And this, he sent his design on the front of the letter there. We have something enclosed here. Let's see what this is. Oh, these are stickers, little decals. There is a necklace with the MAGA flag. I don't know if that's what he calls it, but let's see. Yeah, MAGAflagshop.com. Everybody check it out. I will post it here on the bottom of the screen. Everybody go check him out. Sent me an actual flag, the MAGA flag. We've got some larger stickers or decals here, and then a large one to put on the back of a vehicle. So I'm not one for stickers and decals and stuff on my vehicle, but it's time to celebrate. We just had a good outcome on Tuesday. I may slap that on the back of the Ram. And sent me, appears to be 2 shirts, both in my size. Awesome. There's the first one. And if you're wondering what my size is, in case you're thinking of sending me a shirt, it's just a large. That is awesome. Thank you very much, Freddie. And that's just cool. Again, it feels like Christmas. I appreciate so much everybody sending me stuff. Thank you tremendously. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And I will absolutely use this stuff, and I will read these books, and I will wear this clothing, and I will use these stickers somewhere. This stuff will not just get shelved, it will get put to use. So thank you all so much. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you guys enjoyed the clips that we watched together, and thank you for sticking around and watching me open some packages. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to check out my website at www.barry-stepp.com if you'd like to order yourself a shirt or a hat or a hoodie. And don't forget to post your photos of your shirts and stuff over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.